Hi, in this session we want to talk about how to find and trade the trend using the trade grader. How to identify the trend. Okay, here's the very simple way to identify the trend. Get an early bird on the day chart. Then, to confirm it, have a blue light special on the 4-hour. Okay, that is the beginning of a trend. Now, we're not saying this is going to trend and totally be that way for hundreds of pips, but that is the heads up to say, hey, there is a definite trend here because the day said heads up and the 4-hour was confirming with the blue light special. That's about as difficult as it has to be to determine which way you want to trade. An easy way to determine which way you should be trading is to check the color of the Hakanashi. If it's red, or whatever color you're using, if it's a long color, you trade long. If it's a short color, you trade short on the day chart. Then you grade the trade down from there. So once you know what the trend is, you can go on in your trading day and be just trading in the direction of the trend. On the day only, you can have a grade of 1. This is a little bit different than we had before. Before we said, well, if the day had a early bird, which would be a grade of 1, then you go to the 4-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute to start your grading. We have come to find out through a lot of grading that if the day has a early bird and it confirms on the 4-hour, then you can take your trade on the 1-hour or any time frame smaller than that. So the day only has to have an early bird to start your trading in the trend. So the day can have a 1, which is an early bird, and the 4-hour has to have a 2, which is a blue light special. Those two things, remember, confirm the direction that you're going to trade. And on the 1-hour, preferably, you want a 5-alarm trade. Once it's heavily in that direction, you can take an orbital alert trade or a launch pad trade. It may be only grayed out at a 4, but that will still give you direction and a high probability trade because you have the day and the 4-hour that are giving you the direction of the trend. Now, once you know what this trend is, then all of the groups of 3 time frames you have a grade of 2 or more in the first slot. Okay, remember the day has a grade of 1. Everything else, a 4-hour or smaller, has to have a 2 in the first slot, meaning it has to have a blue light special to get a grade to start your grading process. Here's a key point. Only trade the other time frames in the direction of the day. Now, I've repeated this a whole bunch of times, letting you know that what if you're trading the 30, 15, and 5 minutes time frames? Our suggestion is find out which direction the day is going and only take those smaller time frames in that direction. That'll increase your probability of having high probability trades. It's even better to confirm with the 4-hour having a blue light special. So the day has an early bird, the 4-hour has a blue light special. So an easy way to know the direction of the trade is to look at the trend alert. A lot of us don't take advantage of all the powers that trend alert has. For example, look at the day chart only, the day box. On this one, it's going down. I don't care, the number doesn't make a difference. It's which direction is that color going. So this way, we only take short trades on all the other time frames. You'll notice there's not anything else matching up, so that's probably not a pair that's set up to trade. On this one, said the day was going long. You see it's starting to set up. So you wait until everything confirms and trade in that direction. That is a very simple, easy way to do it. Let's look at this some charts now to confirm what we have been talking about. But looking at this one right now, which direction would you be trading this? Okay, now I don't have the trend alert up. Okay, let's go to the Aussie US right here. What does the day say? It says it's red, and it has been red for, this is the second day. That's the direction of the trend that we'd be trading. I'm not concerned about, on a day chart, whether it is a weak trade, like this one, retracement, or whether it's going in the trend. If you want to know, if you want to take trades against the trend, just look at the color of the day, and then we'll grade it out. We'll grade some of these so you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But that's where you'd look. Let's look at this US CAD. Which direction are we trading? We're wanting to trade long. This is the 4-hour chart we have up. Let's go to the day. Okay, look at that day. It's been going long for 3 days. Now, this is in hopes to answer the question I get all the time is, how do you know which way the trade is going, the trend? Or how do you catch those great big moves? You see a big move here, a start of a nice move here. This is a decent little move. This one only went 100 pips. But if you're trading that direction, it's easy to take out that 100 pips. So the only way you can find those big trades is to consistently trade all the time when it changes and when it's going that direction. Eventually you're going to hit some. Let me make this smaller. This is on a day chart. See how many times on this one currency pair there were big moves? Now, right in here and over here, yes, you went through some places where it wasn't really trending, but we'll show you some examples that that's really not that big of a problem. Which direction would you trade on this one? You can look over here and tell for sure, but you can go over here and tell for sure. Okay, you're trading short on that. I don't care that that's been going 8 times. Everything else will confirm out, and it'll grade out and say not to take a trade. Now I'm going to do one other thing. If you set your charts up like this, it's easy to find which pairs you want to look at. Switching from one pair to another, you can glance and say, okay, on this one I know I'm going to be trading the day long. This one I'm going to be trading long. This one I'm going to be going short. And that's how you do it. You can stop and analyze it a little bit more if you want and say, yes, this is going long, and this probably confirms it, or is there something setting up down here? So that's another way that you can look at some things. That's the concept. Now, so what I'm going to do is click the up key to go back in time. Now, first of all, let's just look at some of these general areas here, and I'll put a couple of lines. This is going back in history just to get the concept. I hope you get grasping the concept. Hope I'm not oversimplifying it. Okay, right here, that's easy to trade down. Right here, that's easy to trade down. And so what we're doing is looking to trade this retracement. We want to make sure that we're not getting caught up in expecting a 1,000 pip move when it's a retracement trade, because you can see the divergence showing up. You still need to use all your other tools and skills you have, a divergent going along. So we're going to go to the 4 hour. Okay, the 4 hour grades out on that first bar and says, let's take a look at that. Now let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, this is what it looks like on the 1 hour. So we know that for sure right in here it graded out. That's a 5 alarm trade right there. How many pips did it give us? 40 or 50 pips. If you'd used the early bird stop, you could have set that, traded it, and it would have given you 40 or 50 pips. That's using the day as the early bird. Let's look. The next early bird is not an early bird. That's actually a blue light special going long. But we know that it's a counter trend, so let's look to see what that told us. Right off the bat, the 4 hour didn't grade out. If it was red as soon as it opened, then we would have known that we shouldn't take it. But what if it was blue up here and blue on both those spots? Let's see what the 1 hour would have done for us. See, the 1 hour was well into it. The 1 hour wouldn't have allowed us to take that trade if we had followed the rules. So yes, we've graded it out. That's how you use the alert. Now, here's a bunch of things. We have a blue light special on this one. And we have a camelback right here. That's a high probability trade, and you can see that the trend gave us some good moves as we went down there. Went sideways here on the day, but we could have taken some big pips in here. Right here. See, that's over 100 pips right there. Right to there was 90, but it went down as far as 170. So we could have made some pips in there as well. Right here, the 120 pips. So there's 30, 40, 50 pip trades throughout this type of trading, even though the market might be a little bit rough. Here's another spot that is also going to be hard. This one happens to be, we're clear back in January 20. Okay, this is a Sunday. This for me, this is when the market just opened. So I'm going to put that line there, put this line right here. So we know that when this day started, which was Tuesday, it was probably going to be going long. Okay, look at the 4 hour. What happened? It said it was red, but this was blue. It didn't grade out. And the 1 hour, you weren't getting any consistency. So you would have stayed out of that trade to start with because nothing graded out. But let's go to the next bar. This says going short. Let's see what the 4 hour said. Well, the bar said to go short, but look what the 4 hour said. It didn't grade out. And of course the 1 hour was sideways. And then we know that this one we already looked at was a little bit of a trade. So you can look at the, yes, the colors, but then just grade it out, and that will help you. So you say, okay, what color's the day? Okay, I'm looking, does it grade out? No. Yes, it does. And then you trade in that direction. And even in choppy markets, and we'll go through some other examples just to see how we can find some choppy markets. Well, let's just go to the the US yen. Okay, and I'm going to hit back 3 times on this one. Okay, right here, of course, we see that there was a big trend here. So what happens if in the day? There's a big trade right there. Now see, you can trade as long as that's the same color. There's no exit signals. You could actually take a trade here if you wanted to. This is such a big trend, you're not seeing how much it actually moved. From the top of this little bar down to the bottom of that one was like 50 pips. Might have been hard to trade in there. And then we had a little bit of a trade here possibly. Here, here, here. Okay, here's the big one. Okay, 500 pips. Another 130 pips. Then a little back and forth. And 200 pips. 260 pips. So you can get some of these big runs, but you have to be taking the trades and looking at the direction of the trend on that day. So let's start over here at this side. I'm going to mark a line and go to the 4 hour. The 4 hour said take it, but then started going sideways, and we see that it was ending its trend. But let's see if the 1 hour would confirm with the day. The day said right here, let me mark it where it actually changed so we can tell it changed colors. See, the day actually changed color over here. The 4 hour would have not told us anything because it was right in this bar when the day first changed colors. So this would have been hard to trade based on the day and the 4 hour. Neither one of them were setting up. But see what the market was doing? It was in transition right at that point. Then had this big down run. That would have been a little rough trading, but there's still 300 pips if you just got in and traded that. Okay, that's the concept I wanted to show you right there. We've shown some history, how things work. Now, let's go look at some current positions. So here, we know that right here, it said it's going down. So I'm going to move this bar over here. It says that's a short. Now, grade it. If we were just coming in right now, this doesn't grade out, so we don't even worry about taking the trade. If you want to say, well, I'm going to use the 4 hours more larger time frame, okay, that makes a big difference. The day doesn't grade at all. The day says going short. But if you want to, you remember the rule, you have to have at least a blue light special on the 4 hour. This is a variation. If you want to be this aggressive in your trading, okay, that's fine. Then you got 3 time frames, 1 hour and the 30-minute, and so it would be over in here before you'd really get a trade. And there was, 10, 13 pips. So you could have been trading there. But you realize that this is on a Friday, so the things are going to be slow. So let's just go through and look and see what would have happened. Okay, you can see that currently, if we'd started on this day right here, going short, the 4 hour would have graded out okay, and the 1 hour would have given us, we could have had an entry there for a few pips, or even stayed in. Here's another few pips, and another few pips. Or you take the first trade, add on, and add on. And so you could have taken this trade that totally was like a 46 pip trade and turned it into an 80 to 100 pip trade by adding on, and just seeing that just the day is really strong and the 4 hour is strong also. Okay, so there were some trades there. I don't see anything fresh. You're usually going to have fresh, but let's go to the next one. Euro Aussie. Which direction is it going? It's been going up for a few days. 4 hour, it confirmed right in here you could have taken a couple of trades. But see, this bar came back down. That probably would have kept you out. So let's look at the 1 hour, and it's going to probably show us a little trade right here with a retracement, and then maybe now it's getting ready to take a trade again. It's been a rough one, but yes, it could have been a trade. There's probably a news announcement. A trade, the retracement, and it's taken off again. Go to another one. Which way? The day says long, and we can see that that's the case. And we know that there would have been some trades in there. Okay, I'm going to go to the Euro New Zealand. There's a couple things I've marked on this chart that I wanted to go over with you. Going right at the bottom of that bar to the top was 80 pips on a day bar. Okay, right here it said that there was a short move, but look which direction the market moved on that one. Now we're looking at the white line right now because the red color was there saying you should trade short, but the market moved long. See, the day said short, but the market moved long right in here. So you may not be trading that unless you wanted to use the 4 hour, but see, the 4 hour was choppy. So the day would have smoothed that out. You said, well, I'm not trading that currency pair. The day said short at this particular point, but the 4 hour and the 1 hour had long signals in it, and the market actually moved long. When you see that kind of stuff going on, heads up, it's probably a transition of some sort, and you can see that that's what happened. If you look at the candlestick bars, this is and you can see what would have happened if you'd started looking at this. Let's look at this blue line. Okay, it said it was blue. It was blue on the 4 hour. The 4 hour said, yes, go long. Here's what the 1 hour said. The 1 hour was not fresh. If you'd taken this might be a trade you may have taken and you may have lost. Expect that you're going to lose. Don't get concerned about it. Have a few losses. This might have been a 20, 30 pip loss. But you look at the pips that we're talking about, they're 50, 100 pip trades we're looking at. If you 3 of those and you add on and you have one 20 pip loss, don't let it ruin your day. Take a bunch of trades. You'll get over that. If you take 1 or 2 trades a week or 1 trade a day, yeah, you're going to suffer for years with that problem. If you see something, take the trade. If you need to overcome it on a demo account, which I recommend, take 5, 10, 15, 20 trades, and you're probably going to have your account grow if you take it based on what we've just been talking about today. Take a lot of trades. If you want to get experience, that's the second way. Take a lot of trades. The first way is do simulated trading. That's where you can get a lot of experience in a short period of time. And we've got it, if you just follow this one system here, one strategy, one setup, the way we're talking about it, you still need to know where your CDC is and where the hotlines are crossing and the fractal breaks, and you still need to be aware of all that stuff. Don't get caught up in all the detail. If that's too hard for you, just stick to this one little concept and then add the others to it as we go along. Okay, I've shown you one where it might have graded out, you might have lost. Okay, this is going back to the same concept that it said it was blue, but the price came back down and closed lower. But I bet you there were some trades in there while we were trading long. Okay, the 4 hour said it graded out at that same spot right there. Let's see what the 1 hour said. The 1 hour had a pretty good entry on the very next bar. It went up as high as 120 pips. If you'd been timing it, you could have easily taken out 80 pips out of that move. Even if you'd been asleep, you put the early bird stop on it, and it would have taken you out at over 80 pips. And that's a bar that looked good to start with. Because when it took off, it looked good, but it turned and came back. You would have taken out a big chunk out of the middle of that bar. So that's why if you trade the trend on these day bars, you'll be okay. This is the part that a lot of people get caught up in. Well, look, I missed all those pips. The market was really flying. Well, what happened the next day? If it doesn't grade out, usually something is either a sideways market or it's a changing, getting ready to change and go a different direction. something's happening. So you want to find these trends. Yeah, you're going to be taking some of these, but go through. This is I'm going to show you one example, and then you can do the rest on your own. Put a line on the chart. Any place, it doesn't make any difference. Right here on the day, this is kind of at the end. You have to grade that out, but click over here, or you can go across the bottom of your charts and do the same thing, but this way you're sure going to stay on the same time on each of these days. Drag this over. That's what we're looking for. Is there a trade on another currency pair? Possibly, possibly not. Well, this is the day chart, and it went down 65 pips. Was there a trade? Yes, you could have been trading something over here. So go through, and in almost every place you draw a line, there's going to be one or two pairs that probably have some type of a trade in them. So just take the high probability trades. I move this line right here. I'm going to move the anchor over here. We're going to simulate trade the day. It's a very simple concept. Take a demo account and do this as an assignment. Don't do it on your live account. Okay, whenever the day is an early bird going one direction or the other, then you trade in that direction. Put one trade on, wait until the next day. And when you're simulated trading, you can go through, see we just went through 24 hours right there. So this trade that you put on right here, we just leave that on, and we're going to close that trade when the Hakanashi turns to blue. Okay, right there. We closed it. How many pips did we make on that trade? 190 pips. Took about a week. Okay. Now that says we're trading long now. We put a trade going long because that turned blue. I'm going to scroll across. It turned red. So this one we've been in and out, and we would have been taking a short right there when it turned red. Now we're going to get out when it turns blue again. Okay, it turned blue. How many pips did we get? About another 145. About 160. So we got about 300 pips. What if we lost 50 pips in here? Is that going to make any difference? No. Just do that on a demo account. Every time the new day bar forms a color, take a trade. When you see it changes, close it out. So you put the early bird stop on the day. You're entering on the day, you're closing on the day. I'm trying to get you to get the concept of trading the trend. You can look at it, but all of a sudden you say, oh man, I'm a hero. It's 160 pips in my direction. And then it comes back and, oh, it's only 50 pips in my direction. And if you just wait the next day, then it starts going, oh, I'm a hero again. It's 170 pips. Oh, I'm a hero. It's 345. Oh, it came back to only I made 200 pips on that trade. Well, if you manage it, you can take those other pips out of it also. But that's a little exercise of how to simulate trade, trading the direction of the trend on the day. And see how many pips you can make doing that. As long as that's the color, you stay in the trade. And use the early bird stop to do that for you. You set it, you take it on the day, you set it on the day. But also trade the day, 4 hour, 1 hour. Grade some out. Get in and out of some trades. Learn how to trade, not just saying, oh, I'll just trade color changes. No, you need to trade based on what the market's doing with you or for you. Yes, so one of the statements in this question Karen's asking is, the day dictates the direction of the trend all day. Yes. You got enough currency pairs that it's only one day. You look back what happened a month ago. There's 20 trading days in the last month. If you'd been trading the direction of the trend on that day, then you would have had a lot of pips. And you can see some places where it goes really good and places where it retraces. But trade it in the direction of the trend all day long. I like that, Karen. But here's the review again. The day color, early bird. To really confirm the trend, a blue light special on the 4 hour. Between those two, you've got a good indication that there's going to be a move of some size. It may not be a total start of a trend. It may just be a reversal. But if those two are in that pattern, early bird, blue light special, you're probably going to get a few pips on the trade.
For those of you that have the alert package, a little secret is find the time when the day bar changes in your time zone, and have the early bird alert set for the day. So that you can have that brought to your attention immediately when that day bar changes color, and just leave that on all day long, because if there's a big move, a news move or whatever, that day can change color from red to blue or blue to red or whatever your color selection is. I've found that early bird alert to be very, very powerful for identifying either this day or the 4 hours, the largest time frame. Those really are the only two time frames I pay a lot of attention to on the early bird alerts.
Okay, for the first early bird alert, that's a great thing, Michael. Thanks for bringing that up. And many times this is a mistake that we can't get new people. They want to start getting all these alerts and signals, and they forget that we say, show them how to use it. Only have it on a few time frames, like the day and the 4 hour. That gives you your direction. Okay, what I'm trading. Then, say the euro yen, for example, was giving you some signals that said, hey, I want to go short. What do? Come over here and set on that euro yen. When this comes up, set it on a couple of time frames. Set on the hour and leave it. That's it. Just since we're talking larger time frame, set on the hour. When that hour gives you a 1 hour early bird alert, that's heads up that you're getting ready to come back and take a trade. Let the tools do the work for you. So in the day, you can look at it, 4 hour, you can come back every 4 hours. This is going to be great for people who work full-time jobs. So try it on a demo account, see if it works for you. Set it on the day, whatever direction it's going, take a trade in a demo account to get your confidence up. And then set the early bird stop on the day again. And you may have 5 or 10 trades on by the time the week's over, if not more. And some of them are going to be very positive, and some of them are going to be just kind of still getting started, and you might have 1 or 2 that are negative, but the negative ones will be closed out by the early bird stop.
I really like the early bird for this feature, and it is a powerful signal. I think it's one of the most powerful signals of a trend reversal or reversal of trend direction. And I sure wouldn't want to be trading without the early bird in my trading, and that blue light special is right next to it.
Hopefully that was helpful, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks, Michael, for your input on